Hi there friends, this is Chris with Peace of Mind, and I'm here today to give you a little tutorial but then also mainly a show and tell of how to do file folders, cover file folders. And the reason I'm doing this is because Christmas is coming up, and these are wonderful file folders to use to put your Christmas cards in after you get them, and from year to year, or at least your favorite ones, or maybe the ones with the photos on them. So what I'm going to show you how to do, the reason I have this one here is this is one that's not Christmas, but I'm going to show you how to cover a file folder with fabric after I show you the file folders that I've already made. This one is kind of more of a simple one. I'm going to use fabric to cover it, and we'll proceed with that after I finish showing you the ones that I already have made. We'll start with the Christmas ones, and I did a tutorial on this a year and a half or so ago. It was around Christmas time, and I will link that at the bottom of your of the video is a place where it says see more. If you hit that see more, then you can usually get any kind of information, like my Etsy shop, where that is, a link to someone else's channel that may have given me an idea for that video. Other videos that I have, which in this case I will link the other video on how to make file folders. And I got my ideas from many different websites that where people were making the file folders. And actually, I just love these things. These will be on my Etsy shop also, some of them. If you see a particular one that you want, just hit me in the comments or over on my Etsy shop, and I'll put it up for you to purchase if you want to. But in the coming days, I may also have some up there for you to look at. Okay, so this is one of the Christmas ones. Basically, what I do is I take a file folder, and I'll show you the file folder. And this was a regular file folder that I coffee dyed, tea dyed, stained. I used my staining Mod Podge on it. Different. This one I think I just stained, pretty much. It may have been coffee dyed a little too, or tea dyed. It has a fold over part that folds over so that you can close up, and it's a great place to keep your cards, basically anything to do with Christmas that you got. Maybe you went to see the Nutcracker or something and you want to save your tickets. Basically anything that has to do with Christmas. A lot of people get those Christmas letters. That would be a great place. Any photographs that you have, people send you photographs, you could keep them in here. This is just the back of the file folder, and what I did on here in order to get the ribbon so that it was glued down was I glued down a glittery snowflake on there. Okay, I used a ribbon. I used different. This is a piece of fabric here. This is my favorite lace that I got quite a while ago, and I of course have used the last of this, but I love this lace. This was from a music sheet, different fabrics. It says keep calm and hang mistletoe. So that's one of the Christmas ones. There's another one. It has a bow on it. All of these open up with a flap and are usually tied with a ribbon, or sometimes I put a Velcro closing up here on the top. And they're sewn down the sides, but you sew them after you finish making them. Otherwise, you'd have a hard time figuring out where to put the flap and so on. And you don't want to sew the flap closed. Okay, and then this one the same. It has a has a little piece of fabric and a star holding it back. And some like here, I put the lace so it goes over the side. Basically, these are the same as like making a topper for your journal. You just decorate the front. This, I took a different music paper, wrapping paper, Christmas scrapbook paper, and then I had some of these glittery stars. I used charms, snowflakes, ribbons. Okay, so that's another Christmas one. This is my personal Christmas one. This has cards in it from the last couple of years and pictures and letters. This one says, "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." Okay. It's just made out of these are made out of a regular size file folder. You can use a bigger one if you, and I think the bigger ones are like, probably 14, maybe 14 long, 9 by 14, something like that. Whereas these will fit inside will fit a 8 by 10 piece of paper, which is, I don't know how many of you remember back to the days where we actually used file folders to file. Thank God we don't have to do that anymore. That took hours and hours to file papers away. But this is a lot better way to use them. You can put photographs in there, anything you want. Okay. Okay, now here are some of the ones that I have done that are just kind of a regular style. This one's at the beach. This one has a flap. And I'll show you the inside here. This one has a beach theme. I did a lot of stenciling on the sides here. And when you make these, before you put this gluey thing down here, make sure your flap doesn't like on this one, for instance, doesn't cover over her face or something when it's closed. Basically, that's all you do. This is a pocket with a journaling card in it. This is an Artie Mays digital, I think. She has a really cute one on, and I got it a couple of years ago. She has a really cute one on the seaside. This is a photograph that's in the public domain that I got off of the internet, and then I just watercolored it was black and white, and I just watercolored parts of it. And on the back, just stamped a little bit and did a little stenciling. You don't have to decorate the back, but I think it makes it, kind of fit in with the front that way. Okay, next we have two smaller ones. Now on these, like I put a photograph of a girl here. If you want to, you could print your own photographs of people, people that you know, or maybe some of your older photographs that you have of like your grandma or grandpa together. And then I have given these as gifts, not this size, but one of maybe like this size. I have given these as gifts for like bridal showers, and even if someone's elderly mother passes away, then I would give them maybe one of these to put their mom's photos and just old letters and memories of their mom inside one of these, and it's just so special to have. And it takes a lot less time to do this than like the old-fashioned scrapbooks where you had to glue everything down, or the old-fashioned, now we have everything on our camera, pictures and so on. But we still need a place to put things that we have that are printed and that we want to save, so that someday they will become a vintage item. Okay, so here's the smaller ones. And this will hold quite a bit. Not as much as the other ones, but you just kind of make a collage on the front. Some of the stuff is sewn around. I don't think this is a pocket. No, this isn't a pocket. Excuse me. Excuse me a moment. This is from an old book, children's book. These little illustrations of the squirrels. And use charms, lace, ribbon. Remember this. And on most of the ones that I make, I leave the tabs and so on them because they just add to it, I think. The tabs that are at the top of the file folder. And these have a few things on the back as well. Okay, this one has a closure. I glued a button here, but then I put one of those dots where then you can close it. It just holds the flap down nicely. This is another one that's by the sea, and I think these are Artemis also. And in the other video that I have on how to make these, I show you how to add this. This is a part of another file folder just to give it some stability. And I'll show you how to add those also. These are frames, cardboard frames, chipboard frames. This is one of my slow stitch hearts that I put on as a pocket to have a couple of tags in there. A little piece of paper where you can maybe write what's inside the journal or what's inside the folder. These are kind of like a journal too, and you could also use them as a gift to put a journal in. That might be kind of cool. And here's the other side of this. And here's one more. As you all know, I like to use a lot of different sayings and sentiments in my work. And here's one, maybe for a person that's graduating from high school or college or something, or had some kind of a really wonderful thing happen in their lives. This is a photograph of one of my art quilts that I made, and I made about maybe about 10 art quilts after other painters, and I did my interpretation of their painting only in fabric instead of paint. And this was one that I did for Georgia O'Keeffe. You all will recognize she loved calla lilies a lot. So what I did was I looked at the painting, and then I cut out and assembled my own pieces of fabric, and then painted and did different things on my art quilt. Believe it or not, this background, this kind of pinky brown background, that was a piece of batik fabric, and it fit it perfectly. Anyway, I digress. This is this file folder just folds over with a piece of lace and pleated fabric here. And I mentioned about leaving the top little extensions on. you could put a label here, and so the person that has this folder could write what's in it, or their own name. Okay, and here's the back. This one's just stamped. And I also did some stenciling of a crackle stamp that I have, or stencil. Okay, so I'm finished showing you the samples. Now you'll notice that most of the ones that I made are like more of a collage. I wanted to see what it would look like if I made one that was covered with fabric, and so I'm going to show you that one. First of all, I start out with, also you could cover a something like this in a small or even a larger envelope that's already made. You buy it like this. And this could also be a place to keep your memories and different ephemera that you have. Maybe you might want to store special ephemera that you can't bear to part with, or put in a journal. Maybe you could store it in here after you decorate it. And here are the size file folders that I've used. Like I said, there is a bigger size, and I just get these at the dollar store. You get a pack of, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them for $1. Of course, now the dollar store's gone up to $1.25, but that's about right. That's still not bad. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to cover one. Okay, this is the one I started out with. And this one, I'm going to put a couple of frames on here. I don't know if I'll have time to complete this whole thing, but I may put a photograph of it on the completed video. This is kind of how I want it to go. I have these 2 chipboard frames, and since the people that get this will probably want to put their own photographs in there, I arranged to have this piece of chipboard that will fit, and I'll leave this part on the top open so a person could glue their own photograph down to the backing and then put it inside here. So their own photograph would be showing, or any, like a poem or anything that I might want to put on here. So that was kind of the reason for doing that. And I'll also, when I glue this down, I'll just put the glue very narrowly along the edge here so that that card will be able to slide in. And like I said, leave the top unglued. And then I have some other decorations that I plan on using on here. I think I'll set one up higher than the other one, just because I think that looks better than having them both equally side each other. Okay, and I'll probably add more. Maybe to the top I might add this this little frame, and they're going either way. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so let's just give you the general information on how to cover this. And I'll put this stuff aside till later when we decorate it. Okay, I think I told you in another video that I bought this wonderful fabric at Hobby Lobby a couple weeks ago, and I think it was on clearance, so I don't know if they still have it. But I just thought it was so pretty. I just love the color of it. And of course, because it has the flowers on it, I love that too. Okay, so what I did was I cut a piece of fabric, the width and the length of the file folder, plus so I had a little bit to fold over. Now, if your fabric has a directional, you wouldn't want to wrap it around, because on the back it would be upside down. You see what I'm saying? So you'd have to cut it in half somehow and fold it over so that the direction would be the same on both sides. But on this, on the flower, it really doesn't matter. Now on this one, I might cut off this. I probably will cut off this part that extends over so that I can get that glued down more evenly. And I'll show you what I mean. Just going to take it. And a pencil. Make a light pencil mark. And I'll cut that. Now, since I'm going to be sewing this fabric all the way around down to this file folder, I'm not going to use a whole lot of glue, and I am going to use a glue stick so that it just tacks it down. Okay, I also should probably cut this part out. I think I can do it without marking it. I'm going to try. Okay. Just a little bit more. I feel like Tina now. I love Tina. She's so funny. She's at Shabby Dabby Doodah. She doesn't measure anything. She never measures anything. And she creates beautiful things, but I don't know how she does it. I think it's because her mind doesn't work that way. She just doesn't have the ability to measure, to do that. But it's amazing how she gets everything even and everything. So now you could either fold this over and have it be on the inside, but I kind of like the raggedy aspect of it. And you'll notice that I did cut this just a little bit wider than the folder, so that I'll have these edges. So I think I want to do it on the top first. So let's try that. And this is the front of the folder I'm starting with. Okay, and like I said, I think I'm going to use a glue stick because I am going to stitch around this. So I'm going to use this glue stick on the top. I'm going to put that down so that it goes just over the top, just a tiny bit. And now, since this glue stick is not super sticky for fabric, it is for paper. And once it dries on paper, it will hold it down. But for the fabric, it's not super sticky, so you can kind of lift it up and rearrange it if you want to. Okay, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to pull it up. Okay, my time ran out there, so I'm back. But I lifted it up and I glued down this part of it. Now I need to lift it up some more, and I'll glue down the other side. And I glue a little bit in the middle as well to hold it down. Make sure I get the glue on the edges really, really well. And I also put a line of glue down the center. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this over. And then bring this over on this side. And it does, it fits well. Okay. Turn it on this side again. Okay, so that will hold it down until I sew it later. I could, make sure the glue stick dries before you sew it, because you don't want to gum up your sewing machine needle. Dropping things, sorry. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now I made this a little longer than I might need it, but I'm gonna, on this flap, I'm gonna cover this with a piece of file folder also. So what I'll do is I'll see how long I want it. And if I need to cut it off a bit, I can do it at this point. Okay, so let's see on these frames. Like I said, when this flap is down, you don't want to cover over the frames. But I still think I'll be able to put them on without having to cut this very much. Okay, and I can try like this, see if I like it a little better that way. I think I do need to cut a little bit off of it, so let's do that. And I'm going to use my scissors and tear it. I'm just going to cut a tiny piece, and then I'm going to tear it. I'm doing it slowly because I don't want to rip it off where the part where it's glued down. I'm going to take the strings off. I do like this raveled edge though. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, I'm going to take these off for a moment. And like I said, I'm going to back this with the file folder so that it lays down well. Just going to get one of my other folders. Just going to use the paper that the folder is made out of. Okay, a good tear, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to leave a little gap so it has a place to fold. So let's see. I'm going to move it this way. I can see it a little better. And get there. Okay, I'm going to get my ruler and measure it so I can cut it off. Hopefully I get this straight, because I don't have my, usually I have my my glass where I can put it up a side of the measurement, but I don't right now, so I'm just kind of winging it. the light pencil line. And cut it. Now I've told you this before. When you're cutting after your on your pencil line, cut right inside so you cut off your pencil line so you don't have to erase it later. Although you can, but sometimes once it gets glue over the top of it, then you can't really erase it very well, and you know you just don't want that to show. So I always try to cut off my pencil line there. Okay, so this can be used for something later. Maybe a small file folder. If you fold it that way, and then, you know, or a pocket, or really anything. You guys, you journalers know what I'm talking about. Okay, so this will also be sewn around. However, I think it might be, is it just a little too long? Maybe so. Let me just cut a sliver of this off. I almost said a shiver, which is probably what we're going to be doing this weekend because it's supposed to get really cold tomorrow. We've just had the best fall ever, like it's 70s and 60s and 70s, and it's even gone up into the 80s in October, which I love, but some people want fall. But it's going to be here. So, okay, so let's take this and we'll glue it around it. Okay, now when you're doing the file folder without covering it with fabric, or you can also cover it with paper as well. You would do this part the same way, and you would use, like I have used a strip, like say this was a plain file folder before I decorated it. I would use a strip of muslin and I'd cut it to maybe an inch wide and glue it along one side, and then I'd cut the flap section and glue it along the other side, leaving that tiny little bit on the edge, on the in between for folding. Okay, so that works. So I kind of burnish that down. Okay, so I'm not going to do this now, but now would be the time where I would probably take this to the sewing machine, and I would start up here, open your flap out like this, and I would sew down, and then I'd sew these edges together. You don't have to go across the bottom, but you can if you want to. It'll cut off a little bit of the area in there, but if you want to just keep going and then go up. Now, don't have your flap down, because if you have your flap down, you're going to sew it down. Go up all the way to the top and back over. You can also, for stability, you can also sew it here across and here across, which I would probably do. And then also, actually, you want to do this before you sew it closed. You can also sew across the top if you want. So do that first, sew across the top line, then do your all the way around thing, then stop that, and then go right here all the way along. Okay, so now after you've sewn it and you have it together, you can decorate it up. I think I had this already now. Put your lace. You can have your lace coming down a little bit or not, it doesn't matter. And do your... Now, for this, I would use the fabric tack glue, because you're gluing fabric to fabric. So, for everything that I glue down on here onto the fabric, I would probably use fabric tack glue. Except for maybe really lightweight paper, and really lightweight paper, you could use the glitter glue. Okay, so you decide where you want these. What I usually do on something like this is I decide where I want them. And then I might put just a little dot right at the tip of this, right at the tip of this frame. Just so I can see it. Actually, it's this dot right there. Same here. This one I should be able to see a little better. Yeah. I can see that a little better. Just so you can see it. I know you can't see it because of the camera probably, but just so I can see it. And then since I had wanted to put something underneath here, I can. This time, before I glue the frame down. Here's one for this side. And it's okay if it's glued down underneath the frame, because you'll be having that go under it. And it's also okay if this extends over the bottom. Okay. So I take this off. I'm just going kind of faster because I want to wrap up this video. Take these off, glue these pieces down, and then line up with my little dot. If I wanted these frames to be a different color, I could paint them. I like the color they are though, so I'm going to leave them. And then, like I said, I can turn them over, and I just want to put tiny bit of glue going all the way around the edge, just the very tiniest that I can possibly get. Okay, and then place it down, line it up with my dot, and place it down. Okay, and then I should be able to slide. Don't glue it down on the top, don't put any glue on the top. And this will be glued down. I should be able to just slide this right in there with my photograph glued on the top here. Now if you purchase one of these from me that looks like this, you'll be able to slide that right out and put your photograph on there. And okay, this I might, underneath here I might put memories, something like that. That would be cute. And then I can glue these little roses on here where I wanted them. And anything else. Can't find my other one right now. Oh, here it is. There it is. Isn't that pretty? So, I thank you all for joining me today. Like I said, I'll link the other video that showed you how to make the file folders that I showed you in the beginning, the Christmas ones, and the I don't know if it covers Christmas ones, but I know that it covers some of the other ones that I showed you. I'll link that video, and I'll also link my Etsy shop where you can go and look and see what I have. I have mostly ready-made products. I don't have any digitals. I do have kits, like slow stitch kits, a lot of slow stitch kits, which are very popular, which I love making and sending out to people so they can create their own slow stitch works of art. So thanks for joining me. Peace of mind.